Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into our poem. I'm going to give you a link. It's going to be on Nearpod, so let me go ahead and give you that. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Dreams. So it's a poem by Langston Hughes. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how to read a poem. Let's do that first. So when you're reading a poem, the first thing you want to do is probably read it 3 times, but 3 times with different purposes. So number 1, you're going to read it looking at the type of poem it is. We're not going to get deep into different types of poetry. There's like sonnets, odes, lyric poems, narrative poems, quatrains, cinquain, haiku. The list goes on and on and on. But we're just going to kind of look at some of the basic characteristics of the poem, like how long is it? Does it rhyme? Is it telling a story? Is there, excuse me, is it, does it seem like it's a happy poem? You know, what's the tone like? We'll look at those kinds of things more so than the type, although the type does come into play, especially when we get to our story, Brown Girl Dreaming, because it's basically one long narrative poem, and a narrative poem is a poem that tells a story, and so you'll see how that goes. But the first time through, what kind of poem is it? The second time through, we're looking for figurative language. And we're not really trying to get all deep into what it all means, but we are just kind of noticing, oh, there's figurative language here, figurative language there, and thinking about how the author's using the figurative language, because poetry uses a lot of symbolism and a lot of figurative language, and sometimes, most of the time, when they use that language, that means that there's some deeper meaning that they want you to get at, some deeper things that they're trying to say there. And then finally, the third time through, we're taking a look at the message of the poem. What is the poet trying to say to us? And we can start to unlock that message once we unlock the meaning of the figurative language, which is what we're going to do here. So we're going to read through it 3 times, take a look at these different aspects of it, and then discuss the meaning. So for our first time through, is there anyone who would like to read for us?
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. Okay, so we've got one poem, 2 stanzas, 4 lines each, super short. There is some rhyming in there, so we can see that. And then there's a couple of words that we need to make sure that we understand. The first one is hold fast. So you can see at the bottom that hold fast means that you hold on tight to something. You don't, without letting it go. And then barren means empty. So something that's empty and has nothing in it. So can I get someone to read it through a second time?
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow.
All right. So now the second time through, we're looking at figurative language. And did anybody notice any figurative language in there?
Where it says, life is a broken winged bird, that's metaphor.
So, yes. Let's go ahead and read through it a third time. And the third time, we're looking for meaning. Do I have a volunteer to read it through a third time?
Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow.
All right, good job. All right. Now we're going to start digging into the meaning by looking at the figurative language, starting with metaphors. So let's see if we can remember what a metaphor is. So take about a minute and a half and write down your answer for what is a metaphor. All right, time's up. Let's see what we have here. Let's take a look at our answers. We've got a figure of speech where the word is applied to an object or act. Okay. Let's see. So we've got something is another thing. For example, life is a broken winged bird. Okay. A sentence comparing two things using as. Nope, that's a simile. Yes, a metaphor is a way to describe something, but that's not a definition. Let's see. All right. Yeah, something comparing someone using like without using like or as. So basically, it's this. A metaphor compares two items without using the words like or as. When you compare one thing to another by calling it something that it is not. So, for example, her hair is silk is a metaphor. Her hair is like silk is not a metaphor. The sun is a warm blanket is a metaphor. The sun is like a warm blanket is a simile. So on the next slide, what I'd like you to do is write your own metaphor. Not metaphors from the poem, but write your own metaphor. Okay, go ahead and do that. Got about a minute and a half. So let's see what we got. That bed is a block of concrete. Yes. She is a shining star. Yes. The summer breeze was a blanket of warmth. Yes. It was as cold as a freezer. Nope. Because you have as. Remember, without it, so you're making a comparison without using like or as, and we've got as here. So if you had said it was a cold freezer, then that would be a metaphor. Today was hotter than the sun. Again, than is also one of those words that's kind of like or as. And so if you had said today was the heat was volcanic or something like that, then you're talking about a metaphor. That boy's voice is like music to my ears. Again, his voice is music to my ears would be a metaphor, but his voice is like music to my ears is not. All right, she is a walking dictionary. The dog is a long sausage. He is a pig. Good. He is faster than a race car. No, that's a simile. She is a cheetah. That person is a brave lion. The snow is a white blanket. Good job. All right. Let's go to the next. Now we're going to take a look at personification. So let's go ahead and define personification. Hello, bird. So yeah, it looks like you guys pretty much have this one. It's when something that is not real and cannot talk is given an action or speech. When you add human characteristics to something that isn't alive is probably the most succinct, good way to say that. Giving human traits to something that's not human, using human characteristics on something that's not human. So giving non-living things human characteristics or personality. For example, the sun smiled on us. The sun doesn't have a face. The leaves danced in the wind. Leaves can't dance. So why don't you come up with two of your own examples of personification? So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got. So we were looking for two metaphors. So we have life is a broken winged bird, and we have life is a barren field. And that is correct. Life is a broken winged bird. So life is being compared to this broken bird. And life is a barren field. Life is being compared to this empty field. Good job. All right, now let's take a look at our next. And that is 2 examples of personification from the poem. Same thing, you're going to underline 2 examples of personification. And go. Let's see how we did. We'll start here. Oh, hang on for a second. All right, so we have if dreams die or when dreams go. And that is correct, right? Dreams can't die because they're not alive. And dreams can't go anywhere because they're not alive. So that is the correct answer. All right, so now let's start to think a little deeper about it. And the first thing being, what happens to a bird that can't fly? You've got a bird and it can't fly. What happens to it? Go ahead and write your answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of the answers here. We have it dies, they walk instead. Bird that cannot fly is useless. It has to stay where it is. It'll die, it has no point. It's useless because birds are meant for flying. Okay, so yeah, right? So if a bird can't fly, it can't run away from its enemies. It can't get food. And if it does get food, then it's probably, it's going to have a hard time because how do they find their food? They're flying around, they're looking for it. And then also think of being taken away one of your I don't want to say senses, but one of the, like imagine if, you're taken away, like you can no longer walk or, you can no longer see. So not only can you not walk or see, then you also can't get away from what is attacking you, right? Same thing that, if you were a human who lived 1,000 years ago and you lost your ability to walk, then chances are you would probably die soon. All right, and let's go to the next one. And the next one is, what can you do with an empty frozen field? So let's say you're a farmer and you have an empty frozen field. What can you do with that? Go ahead and put in your answer. Let's go ahead and read the poem again and thinking about what we just talked about life, about a bird that can't fly, that's likely going to die, or a field that is barren, that has no life and is not going to give you life for sustenance as well. So hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. So really briefly, like right now in one sentence, because you're going to get a chance to expand on that, but in one sentence right now, I want you to think about what the author of the poem is saying, and go ahead and write that here. All right, so it looks like a lot of you have a pretty good handle on what it's meaning, and so you're going to have the opportunity to expand that in your independent work, which is under week 9, dreams. Hang on, I forgot to end the lesson. All right, so the first part of the assignment is you're answering those questions that we just went through as a class, so that shouldn't take you long. And then the second part, we're into say, mean, matter, a little bit more advanced now. So your say is the poem. And then mean, what does it mean? How do you know? Write at least 5 sentences here. And then for the matter, you're going to write at least 5 sentences also. And talk about what it matters to you or others, its importance, make a connection with your own life, and any questions as well. So that is your assignment. That is due for Wednesday. Do you guys have any questions about that?